Welcome to Faith in Extraordinary Times. I'm Emma, and our guest today is Meriam Ibrahim. Meriam, welcome.
Thank you.
Meriam's story hit the headlines all over the world in 2014 when she was sentenced to flogging for adultery and death for apostasy. Meriam was pregnant at the time and imprisoned with her toddler Martin. Meriam gave birth to her daughter Maya while in prison on the 27th of May, and she was finally acquitted and released in June 2014 and left Sudan a month later. If it's all right, we're going to start back in 2014 when you were accused of apostasy, even though you had been a Christian your whole life. Can you tell us how that accusation came to?
Yes, the accusation, I was charged at the beginning by adultery or marrying a Christian man. And it's in the eyes of the court, I'm supposed to be a Muslim as my father, because I grew up with my mother and she's a Christian. She raised me as a Christian. But according to Sharia law, children must follow their father's religion. So by the law, I'm supposed to be a Muslim. The argument is about my religion. So, and then later on, they add apostasy because I'm Christian. The judge asked me, "Are you Muslim or Christian?" I would say, "I'm Christian." So that's where the apostasy came from. It was sentenced to receive 100 lashes for the apostasy because the court also see my marriage is wrongdoing. So I was married at the church, the Catholic Church, but under Sharia law is invalid. I was charged by adultery and apostasy, and my children have to be removed from my care, and their father wasn't considered, wasn't recognized by the court as their father in this case. So, and there's too many cases the same, similar to my case, but people would listen to whatever the court said. Even when during my time at the court and the police station, the officer will tell me, "There's many cases like you. Why don't you just say whatever the judge said and you go?" Yeah. Before I go to jail after the end of the hearing, I have to be taken to the hospital for medical exam, and then we found out I was pregnant. Yeah, I'm like, I wasn't planning to have a child at that time, but this God is a gift. So, and that's the reason at the end of the trials, I was given the 2 years. Because if you remember, there's a similar case of Mahmoud Muhammad Taha. He was charged with apostasy and he was executed the next day after his court sentence. So in my case, I was given 2 days. If I wasn't pregnant, I would be killed the next day.
You were sentenced to death, and then you were given the 3 days to recant your faith. And as you said, that the guard was saying, just say what you need to say and you can go. But what was going through your mind at that time?
Well, the picture of Jesus on the cross. And then Jesus was giving, he was stayed on the womb for 3 days. I mean, and I know there is something that God has for me, because it just can't be as a man wanted. It's God's will. And I said it as Jesus said, "If this your will, let it be done in my life." So, and even if I have to die, it's a matter of death and life, because we all can die. Because I just know God, He chose me to go through all this. And it's written in the Bible, we will face persecution, we will face judgment from men. But at the end, it's all in God's hand.
That's incredible. How did you cope with Martin in prison with you? How did he cope? And obviously, having just found out then that you were pregnant with your daughter, how did you as a family unit in that situation? How did you survive? How did you cope?
For his safety is really tough, and I can't even sleep at night because I have to keep an eye on Martin, because most of the people don't like how to talk to me or help me in anything, too much pressure on me and threats. against my children. We're gonna jump on your belly, kill you and kill the baby, like things like that from the enemies. So I have to stay awake all the night to watch over Martin. I know God is doing that, but I have to so I have to stay awake. I don't remember like I slept 2 hours or 3 hours together. So, and he survived. We do. And then last week we got to play the same games we do when we are in prison. So I use a sheet, bed sheet, I cut it for 4 and then tied them long rope. I have to tie half of the sheet on my chest and then tie the small soft one in his leg, in his feet, the same. So, and he's run around like circle, and then he just finds something funny. So we call it prison game.
That sounds such a difficult start for a new mum. When I think of what it's like to have a child that age, and being a parent at that time is hard enough, yet let alone being in the circumstances you were in. It sounds like you have learnt so much about faith during that time. What have you learnt about going through challenging times that might help others now?
A lot of time we face challenging in our life. It doesn't have to go to prison, but we face small things, challenges and sickness, and we lose family members. But I mean, it just can't be that good when we live all our life happy and healthy. So we get to this. I know going to prison is terrible. Like I never commit any crime. Like, but I said, God put me here for a reason. And every day I find I learn something new. Like I talk to other women, I see things like I never thought something like that in my life. It's terrible when you've been in a court and watching so many injustice and terrible way people treat each other. I mean, we don't know what God will put in your way, but you have to we pay attention and focus in what God has for you. That's where you find the purpose in your life, the purpose from your suffering. Like we don't have anything like material things, and I have God. Like I know God, and I get to stand on for that. So that if I have to die at this moment, I would know that I left something for my children. They would know like we have faith, we have Jesus, we know him, we won that prize, and there's nothing that can buy. There's no money, like, and we have freedom. We have a freedom.
So how did it feel when you finally were declared innocent and you left prison? What was that moment like? How did you feel?
Well, I noticed, I mean, I have a feeling this will happen, but I was so shocked. Like, I didn't know how to do like, I don't know how even the way they told me when I have to live, it's long story, but they didn't tell me exactly you've been released, you know? So I make it, but I have a feeling like I left the room, I'm not coming back again to the, like, on the cell. So I know, and God, he promised me that to protect me and save me, and I was grateful for that. And I wasn't concerned like what I will face tomorrow, what the life will be for me and for my children. So it's been a terrible experience, but it's joyful at the same time because I feel we say God is with us, but I feel his presence in my life every moment, like every moment. So I left prison, and then later I have no way to go because even my house, I've never been to my house since Christmas Eve. So I have to find a safe place to stay with my children. Another new chapter, new stories. A refugee in the US, the church, and then some embassies. We will take Meriam, but at the end we decided to go with the US embassy. So I spent there a month with the US Embassy. I actually spent one night and then I was rearrested again at the airport.
I remember that.
I spent 3 days on the police station. So everybody's scared to come by. Everybody's have to they requested somebody to bail us out. And the person who chose to do so, he's still suffering. Like he's in New York right now because he was forced to leave Sudan. My lawyer was forced to leave Sudan. So it didn't, I mean, like, that's the most painful in all the story. I know the choice I made, but they did support me from their heart. Like, they did what they see is right. So, and I'm very grateful for that.
Did you have any concept of how people were praying for you and supporting you and campaigning for you?
I remember I'm in prison. I don't have even phone. I don't have piece of paper to write letter to call anybody. But I call God on my prayer. And he called all those people to stand on me and to pray for me and to get to know, because like I'm only like a refugee girl who was born in a refugee camp, living all my life. Like I never travel outside unless when I start my business to go to Dubai and this area. Like nobody know me. I don't have friends like in this country. But that's God's work.
And what would you say today to I think we had something like 60,000 of our supporters who campaigned for you and were involved in the days of prayer we held for you. What would you like to say to them today?
I will say, I know thank you is not enough, but I'm very thankful for them. And that's God's call for them. I mean, I asked God. I didn't call them the 6,000 million people, but God did. So, and I wanted them to continue doing that. To keep standing for others, because it's really make a difference and it does on my life and for me and for my children. I'm sure it will make a difference for many people who really need it, because there is still too many captive and too many oppressed around the world, in Sudan or all over the world. So thank you for that, and I really love that you all, and God bless the work they're doing.
I know that you're spending your time now speaking up for others who are suffering, and you were part of a group of survivors of religious freedom violations at the White House, and you were there with our good friend Helen Vahane. What was that experience like, and how are you using your experiences to speak up for others now who are still suffering and facing injustice?
Well, I am grateful for that opportunity, and I'm grateful for every opportunity I got to speak and to advocate for others. Like you go regular, like normal, we know the UN, this people come and talk, our countries are good, we're doing this and we're doing this, other countries leaders. But when people like us as a survivor, we go speak on the same side and tell our story, that's put the, I mean, show people exactly what needs to be done, because people talk politics and we are good and all this stuff, but the truth is the truth.
And what can we pray for?
For me, for peace around, for my safety, my children's safety. Even though sometimes I feel like when I speak out and do all this work, I mean, it's not fear, but the evil exists. So, yeah. And pray for change in Sudan. We really do want to see that. And there's anything that needs to be done, I think this is the right time. Pray for me to be able to continue the work God has put on my path. Like I witnessed too many injustice. So every night I put my kids in a bed, I remember the kids back in prison, the children back in prison, and the safety of the people I work with, even in Sudan or in any other country.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, and thank you for reliving some of your experiences, and thank you for all the work that you are doing now.
Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless.